next time on Yes, I Have HIV.
Our baby she was sick when she was born at birth. 7. I didn't want to have the conversation. I didn't test, the mother tested. Knowing that you were playing around. Something else.
Do you think any of the kids are also infected? What's up, everybody? My name is Nozibele Kamganamayaba. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, please make sure that you subscribe and join the rest of the family. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. So it is a Monday, and as promised, every Mondays I do reviews and the behind the scenes of my show called Yes, I Have HIV. So yesterday was the 3rd episode of season 1. It airs on Honey TV every Sundays at 10 p.m. DSTV channel 173. There are repeats on Mondays at 6 a.m. and on Sundays at 2 p.m. Okay. I'm sorry guys, for those that are international, we still haven't figured out how you can watch it because it's only available on DSTV at the moment. So yesterday we got to meet Tshepo. So Tshepo wrote to the show to disclose his HIV status to his son. What you did not get to see was that Tshepo, when he wrote to the show, it was not only his son that he wanted to disclose to. He actually wanted to disclose also to his current girlfriend. But on the day that we called him in to interview him, to get to know him better, to know his story, he decided otherwise, that he no longer wanted to disclose to his girlfriend. I wasn't sure whether they were still together. There was just some story that was not adding up in terms of why he had decided against calling his girlfriend. But basically, we ended up, proceeding with the son. So just to give you a backstory in terms of, who Tshepo is and how we found out about his HIV status. It was back in the early 90s. So Tshepo was married. And Tshepo actually found out about his HIV status through the birth of, his first child. So when his daughter was born, daughter started to get sick, and they just couldn't figure out what was going on. And then the doctor, advised them to get tested, the mom to get tested, the daughter to get tested. And then thereafter, they found out that the daughter was HIV positive. So I asked during, the interview, did you test? And at the time, he did not test. But by virtue of the mom and the daughter being HIV positive, to him, it was a given that he was also HIV positive. I tried to also get his story from, how he grew up, what kind of, environment and what kind of background does he come from. It seems like he had quite a difficult, childhood. He was raised by mom and stepfather, and he had a difficult relationship with stepfather, and that he ended up with grandmom that raised him up. And he started getting into petty crimes. But then petty crimes, started to develop into actually something very serious, that he got arrested. He was arrested for a short while and then got released because of good behavior. But it seems like it did not end there. He was quite known as, umchita wasekasi, who moves around, and also quite a ladies' man. So I tried to find out, how do they deal with the diagnosis of the child? Did he have any guilt, about Mdana, being born HIV positive? But also taking into consideration, guys, that, what could have been done to prevent the child being born, HIV positive. I had to really understand also the context of the times back then. This was in the early 90s when, prevention from mother to child was not available. And he even explained that even after the diagnosis, the HIV diagnosis, EARVs were not available in South Africa. If you follow the HIV history in our country, EARVs were only available, I think, beginning of early 2000, I think 2002 or 2003, if I'm not mistaken. So to a point where his wife's dad, I think, who was working in Germany at the time, had organized medication for them to take, so that obviously to start just getting healthy. The good news that is the child is now about 24 or 25. Child is healthy, continues to take medication. Yeah, okay. So I was very happy to hear that. So it did not end there. So eventually, I think the burden of what had happened with their child got the best of them, and him and the wife, you know, broke up. They got divorced. I think there was also pressure from the wife's family because of what happened, because they blamed him. He says also that, you know, he was quite the ladies' man. He was quite out there. You know, it was very common to change ladies whenever you wanted. And he went to father actually 6 other kids after his daughter. So I thought it would be interesting to understand, having gone through what they went through with their daughter being born HIV positive, because at that point in time they did not know. However, now that you say that you went to, you know, have 6 other kids, now you kind of knew your HIV status. Okay, maybe you were in denial, but did you disclose, you know, to the other partners, to the other baby mamas? And it seems like he did not. So the follow-up question from my side was, okay, so are there any other kids possibly that may have been infected? You know, since you are saying that you did not disclose your HIV status to the other woman that you were with. And he says no, which I thought was very interesting, because it also depends on how you look at it. It actually, like, it does make sense to say that the kids are not HIV positive, depending on when they were born. If they were born in the early 2000s, definitely, because you know, as soon as a woman is pregnant, HIV test is mandatory. So if they were found to be HIV positive, necessary steps would have been taken to make sure that the child is born HIV negative. If there's any other child that was born before, I found it interesting that he was quite sure that they were not born HIV positive, because obviously by virtue of the woman being pregnant, it means that you did not use protection, and chances of you infecting the other person were quite high, right? But again, I guess it was also being on national TV and disclosing possibly his kid's status, which was definitely understandable. So back to this son in particular that he wanted to disclose to. Okay, so what's so special about your son, right? You have 6 other kids. Do the other kids know your HIV status? Yes. Okay, so what happened with this one? So it appears that umama womdana, they were having an affair while he was in another relationship, and the mother got pregnant, and he denied paternity of the child for a very long time. The boy is now 21 if I'm not mistaken, and only 2 years back that they started to form some kind of relationship. They would literally pass each other on the streets, and everyone in the neighborhood that knew that, listen, this is your son, but he just did not want to form any kind of relationship with him at all. Apparently there were times where the son did reach out, you know, because he wanted to form a relationship with his father, but he was not ready to do so. Once again, up until 2 years ago when they started to form that relationship. They were very honest that it was not easy at first, because trying to get through the hurt of denying your own blood, yeah, and working through those issues, which I believe they are still working through even now. So, hey guys, I don't want to lie. It was a very difficult episode, because also as a presenter and as a mediator, trying to understand to what extent can I can I go into like the story? How deep can I go into the story? Yeah, man. Because also, so when the son came through, so I gave the opportunity to Ubaba now, to Tsepo, to obviously talk to him. He comes in, so immediately after that, he discloses that, listen, buddy, I love, by the way, how they call each other. They call each other buddy. Buddy, I came here to tell you that I've been living with HIV for the past plus 20 years. And the reason I brought you here was because I wasn't sure how you're going to take it. So I wanted assistance from Unozi and the people from the show to kind of, provide any kind of support that they can to assist us in me disclosing this news. The Buddy laughed. If you watched yesterday, the minute he disclosed, there was a point where he laughed, ne? And at first I was quite taken back. I'm like, okay. But then I remembered that, particularly when it comes to boys they hide their feelings very well, right? They hide their feelings very well. And I actually realized that it could have been a defense mechanism where he just did not know how to react. And obviously you're in front of the cameras. It's a lot, right? And eventually when he finished, telling his story, something that he said shocked me, which now influenced the kind of questions that I asked right after. So after Buddy laughs, he asks, so does that mean I have it? Hey, this is a 21-year-old. Ne? I think he finished matric and he's trying to improve his studies, something towards that effect. Usually, kids that age, you would assume they have adequate information to kind of know what's going on. Ne? So I was quite puzzled why he would ask like, do I have it? And the dad said, no, it doesn't work like that. And you can see from the interviews that they did afterwards, he says, no, he had heard that if the parents have it, then the child could also have it. So my line of questioning after that was influenced by that question, because I wanted to understand, but what does he understand about HIV? Ne? So I asked him, okay, what do you understand about HIV? And have you ever tested for HIV? And he says, yes, he did. I think he said about a month ago or a few months ago, between that. He tested about a month ago, 3 months ago. And I said, okay, and did you get your results? And he says, no. I think he said he was asked to go back, or he was supposed to go back, but he never went back. Ne? Which is confusing for me, because usually when you do a test, an HIV test, you get your results immediately. So it puzzled me why he would say, like, he tested a month ago, but he never went to fetch his results. You get your results immediately. So I was like, okay, buddy, are you sexually active? And okay, let me be very honest with this one. This one, it depends on like where you're coming from. Some people found it very invasive, and I totally get it. But also, it was part of, like, you needed to understand the context. So the dad says, and it was not part of the editing that you saw. One of the intentions for the dad was to say, I want to create a very strong bond between the two of us and actually just make up for lost times. But also, I am around like the community, and I get to hear about how people are, some of the things that they say about Tupati Badi. Ne? And the translation was, he took after his dad in terms of the ladies. So that was attempt to say, okay, so you are here to say you want to form a relationship with your son. One of the things that you're going to have to do now is have like some of the most uncomfortable conversations. And one of those uncomfortable conversations is trying to gauge, like, where is he at? How many girlfriends do you have? Like, have you had sex? And like, do you use protection? Right? So there was even a part where after I asked him if he's sexually active, they started laughing together. I'm like, listen, I'm trying to help y'all, okay? You said you wanted to be friends, and this is one of the conversations that friends have, and so they laughed about it. Eventually, Buddy was like, yeah, I'm sexually active. I was like, okay, do you use protection? And he says, sometimes. I was like, okay, you do realize the importance of using protection, right? Apart from HIV, there's STIs, there's unwanted pregnancies, so many different things that you need to protect you and your partner from. And I think that's one of the reasons why your dad, brought you here to allow you into his story, but also to learn from him as a man, right? So it was a lot to take in, and he's still a kid, I get it. But it made me realize the amount of work that we still need to do, guys. If we continue this way, I'm really afraid of our kids and what's going to happen to our kids. This is coming like sincerely from my heart. Looking at Buddy and some of the information like that he has and he doesn't have, it got me frightened. It really got me frightened. Because remember, Buddy is going to go back into, our communities, is going to meet, another 18-year-old, another 20-year-old, another 21-year-old, who also doesn't really have enough information or adequate information to make an informed decision. So, hey, guys, I don't know. I really don't know. It made me, when I finished that episode, I remember even on Facebook, I didn't write specifically like I didn't mention names or anything like that because I knew this episode to air. But I tried to make a scenario about how it actually doesn't even end with your own child. It's like a whole cycle. It's a whole cycle, but with another child, and because of the lack of information and the information that they don't have, guys, I don't know. I don't know what else can be done. I guess we just need to continue talking about these things with the hope that it's gonna get us somewhere. Because if you think these things are exaggerated or we don't have anything to worry about, every now and then there are reports of, kids that are, in particular, young girls that are pregnant in their teenage years. And guys, those things also go hand in hand if you check with the number of new infections in our country. New HIV infections in our country. So there was a lot meant to take from that episode. There was a lot. I can only hope that, I can only hope that we assisted them, the father, in disclosing his HIV status, but from the child's point of view also, that there's something that he learned. There's just something that he learned. But overall, another difficult episode. But I am happy with the work that we did. And there was continuous support that was offered to both of them. Because once again, it does not, start and end with the HIV diagnosis. It goes beyond that, the difficult relationship that they've both had. You saw the father getting emotional at one point about how he wants to do better. There's a lot of lost time between the two of them. So that's why he wants to, you know, form this relationship and strengthen it, and allow him to get to know him better and all of those things. So yeah, guys, that was episode 3. I don't want to lie, it's not going to get easier from here. There was another trailer for next week's episode. Yeah, it's not gonna get easier from here. I don't want to even lie to you. I'll share the trailer right after this video. So let me know your thoughts. Was I right to ask Buddy about his sexual, you know, behavior? And yeah, among other things, how do you find, you know, Tshepo's story and all of the above? Honestly, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. Okay, guys, so that was it for today. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.
Next time on Yes, I Have HIV.
So besithi xa isemsebenzini athatha usister wami amgcinise next door imlanshi. Ngathi xa ndisothuka ebusuku uphathaphatha usister wami lo mncinci. She was 7 years that time. Ndavele ndafreeza because zandisendi naked. Wathi izinto enzenziwa ngumamakho sizobuyela apha kuwe. Benoyeka umama ndisamoyeka nangoku izinto ezindandimxelela.